To a developing story that we are tracking out of Hong Kong for you today. This is where the government has released a statement apologizing after what has been a day of massive protests. Now, the statement reads as follows, quote, "The chief executive admits that large-scale confrontation and conflict took place in Hong Kong due to the inadequacy of the government's work, causing many residents to be disappointed and saddened." The chief executive apologizes to the public and promises that she will accept criticism in the most sincere and humble way. Well, that statement comes while at least 1 million protesters have been clogging the streets in demonstrations throughout the day, demanding an end to a proposed extradition bill. The bill would allow for the first time the transfer of people deemed criminals to the Chinese mainland. And as our Sasha Petrusik tells us, it is uncertain whether this new statement will help ease tensions between the people and the government of Hong Kong.
It's a big question whether this apology may well be too little too late. First of all, it was issued by the government press office in a press release after some 6 or 7 hours of protest today, not to mention all the protests over the past week. And it was a spokesperson who made these comments quoting Carrie Lam. So for a lot of people here, the protesters, it's very impersonal. It doesn't sound very sincere, and as I say, it comes a little bit late, especially given that she's not giving them the other things that they're asking for, which is for this bill to be completely withdrawn. This has been just another step in the in kind of a climb down from this government. Nobody really expected that Carrie Lam just yesterday was going to come out and say that the bill was being put on hold, especially since the day before she was saying it's full speed ahead and it's going to be law probably by next week. And now we have this apology, which comes, as I say, at the end of 6 hours of marching, 1 million people out on the streets, most likely today. You know, it just seems like she's being pushed step by step to grudgingly give what many people, hundreds of thousands of people in Hong Kong, have been asking for the past week at least. It was a very peaceful demonstration today. People were in quite quite in good spirits, in the sense that there was no pushing, there was no shoving, there were no confrontations with police. None of that happened today. But there was a sense of frustration and a sense of sort of anger, this quiet anger that despite all of this, that they just don't get it, and that nobody is really listening to what they're asking for and their fears, because they are really afraid of the Chinese judicial system, and they don't want to have this risk that they could be sent off to face trial somewhere in China when it's a totally different system. It's very opaque, it's very unpredictable, and it's totally different from the democratic and more fair system that they have gotten used to here in Hong Kong, being a former British colony. So for a lot of people, they don't think the government gets it, and I don't think that this apology, coming as it does, will change any of that.
And our thanks to Sasha Petrusik reporting in Hong Kong. Well, for more on the story, we did reach out earlier today to Claudia Mo. Now, she is a pro-democracy Hong Kong legislator who attended high school and university here in Canada, and she has also been taking part in the protests.
People are angry. Well, I am happy to see Hong Kongers fighting, because we feel we're being cheated. Carrie Lam, the city leader, seems to take us as fools. She thinks she could say, there'll be a suspension and you should all go home, no more worries. Now, come on. A suspension is just a postponement, and a postponement is something that's very temporary. And Carrie Lam actually made it clear that this controversial bill is going to come back. It's not a matter of what, but a matter of when. So we need to fight on until this very evil law gets scrapped altogether.